Have you ever wondered why we pray every day, to God, to the universe, to some unseen power, yet the revolutionary change we hope for never seems to arrive? Every morning, every night, we ask for something: peace, wealth, love, success. But Paramahansa Yogananda said something profound: learn to command the universe, not to beg. This isn't just simple advice, it's a warning, it's a challenge, it's the key to a mystery that 99% of the world doesn't want to understand. And this is where our deep spiritual journey begins. We are born, we grow up, and we live within the boundaries created by society. We conform to the same old patterns that millions of people have lived before. Our thoughts, our ambitions, and even the voice of our soul, are drowned out by the noise of the world. We pray to God, but have we ever considered why we pray? We've been taught to ask and you shall receive, but Yogananda suggests that the asking is the real problem. We stand before the universe with outstretched hands, like a beggar, when we were meant to be a creator. The universe is energy, it's consciousness, it's a power that operates through our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. It's not a machine, it's alive. And as we awaken our own consciousness, the universe begins to communicate with us from the depths of our soul. But this isn't a conversation of begging, it's a conversation of commanding. But be warned, this command isn't given from a place of arrogance. It's a command given with complete faith, deep focus, and the purity of your soul. When Paramahansa Yogananda said this, he wasn't just playing with words. He was talking about a state of mastery where there's no distance between a human being and the universe, where desire and creation become one. And reaching this state isn't easy, but it's not impossible either. We've always been told that God is all-powerful, and we are merely His devotees. But have you ever considered that the same supreme power is within you? A spark of that divine consciousness burns inside you. So why can't you also become a creator? Why can't you communicate directly with the universe? The answer is simple: because we were never taught how. We were taught to be afraid, to be limited. Now is the time to break those limits. Paramahansa Yogananda's life was a living example of this expanded consciousness. When he arrived in America, things like yoga and meditation were completely unknown. But through his faith, his inner strength, and his practice of consciousness, he spiritually transformed thousands of people. He didn't perform tricks, he didn't put on a show. He simply demonstrated that when the soul connects directly with the universe, the entire world changes. So, how do we make this connection? How do we command the universe? The answer lies not just in spiritual practice but in your mindset. Think about it. When you repeatedly say, think, and feel something, it slowly begins to manifest in your life. This isn't a coincidence. It's a science, a spiritual science. Your consciousness is like a magnet, and your thoughts are the direction in which this magnet works. When you want something but don't truly believe in it deep down, you fragment that energy. But when you focus intently, with complete faith and a resolute will, and command the universe, that command ricochets off the walls of the cosmos and returns to you as your reality. Today, we're so entangled in the physical world that we can't hear the voice of our own soul. We measure success in cars, houses, and fame. But Yogananda said that true success is the peace of the soul, the expansion of the soul. True power begins when your soul becomes so powerful that it can change the reality around it. Now, think about why 99% of people don't want to understand this truth. Because this truth is difficult, it demands responsibility. It tells you that from now on, you, and no one else, are responsible for your own life. And most people are afraid of this responsibility. But not you. You're here because your soul knows that it is a child of the universe. And a child of the universe doesn't just beg, it creates. Let's try a simple experiment right now. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Quiet your mind and generate just one thought within you: I am connected to the universe. What I resolve becomes my reality. Don't just repeat this thought, feel it, live it. And now, ask yourself, are you worthy of the consciousness that can command the universe? If your answer is yes, then this video, this journey, is for you. Yogananda believed that every human being has a divine power within them. If awakened, it can change not just their own life but the entire world. But this awakening doesn't come from just reading books or watching videos. It requires practice, discipline, and, most of all, faith in yourself, in your soul, and in the justice of the universe. When we pray, we believe we are helpless and that some power above will grant us grace. But when we command, we declare, I am the Creator. I am responsible, and I can bring about change. This difference is not small, it changes everything. This is the mindset from which self-realization begins. Paramahansa Yogananda said that only those who have the courage to see themselves beyond limitations can understand the power of the universe. This isn't a one-day process, it's a continuous effort, an internal revolution. And this revolution is only possible when we ask ourselves, am I just living, or am I truly awake? Today, we let every aspect of our lives be controlled by the outside world. Our thoughts, our decisions, our desires, everything depends on external things. But the day we recognize the power within, we end external control. From that day on, our life is guided by command, not by begging. The power within us can understand the language of the universe, but this power can be awakened not just by knowledge, but by discipline and experience. Now that we understand. Paramahansa Yogananda said that what you think about deeply, with complete faith and emotion, repeatedly, eventually becomes your reality. So, what's the obstacle? Only ourselves. Our old thinking, our fears, our doubts. But as you practice, this process will become natural. A time comes when you just think, and things start to happen. People call it a miracle, but it's not. It's a science, a spiritual science. Those who understand this science are never beggars, they speak to the universe in the language of command. When the journey of consciousness reaches a point where a person thinks not just for themselves but for the collective, the power of a cosmic command manifests in extraordinary ways. This is a state where the soul transcends limited desires and establishes a rhythmic dialogue with the universe. This dialogue is no longer about begging or personal desires, but about the energy of service, kindness, and compassion. Paramahansa Yogananda said that a true yogi is one whose consciousness is not limited to themselves but is immersed in the welfare of all creation. When you reach this level, your commands start to affect not just your life but the collective consciousness. This is the point where your consciousness merges with the consciousness of the universe. Your energy becomes a cosmic wave, and you don't just change the direction of your own life, you become a source of light in the lives of others. The journey to this level begins with service. When you perform your actions not out of selfishness but to help, guide, and support others, your consciousness expands. When you pray for a stranger, when you feel someone's pain in your soul and communicate with the universe for them, it's not just a feeling, it becomes a powerful command. The second step is the practice of compassion. Compassion isn't just an emotion, it's the most refined state of consciousness. It's the power that accepts negativity without reacting and transforms it into love. When you hold feelings of love even for an enemy, you become a part of the universe's divine plan. Then, your words, your thoughts, and your very presence become a healing force. The third level is the practice of selflessness. When you send your commands to the universe, they shouldn't just contain a desire for personal gain but a desire for the welfare of all. This is the state Yogananda called divine attunement. When you say, "O universe, give me the power to serve others," the universe begins to work through you. And finally, the highest state of gratitude. When you give thanks not just for what you have but for the energy that gives motion to all of creation, you start to feel the universe in the rays of the sun, the whisper of the wind, and the pulse of every life. In this state, you don't command the universe, you begin to co-create with it. This is the state of co-creation, where commands and answers flow together. At this stage, your thoughts are aligned with the universe's plan, and there is no struggle, no doubt, only flow. Yogananda taught in his final years that this highest state of consciousness is where the soul is completely free. The person themselves becomes a command of the universe. Their very presence becomes an inspiration for peace, love, and creation. Now, my dear listeners, this is not just information, it's an invitation to a state where you don't just live life, you become one with the source of life. From today, try this experiment. Every morning, meditate not just for yourself but for the entire world. When you make a wish, add to it, if this is also beneficial for all of creation. Every night before sleeping, silently pray for one stranger. This is the practice that connects you to the energy Yogananda was connected to. Because the universe doesn't just listen to your words, it listens to your consciousness. And finally, remember, you are no longer a beggar. You are a co-creator of the universe. You are the one who creates, who changes, who directs.